It's the last catch-all question,
yes.
So it's kind of that.
Anything else left to say?
Yeah.
Take a class.
Fellow makers, as someone who has gotten into making fairly recently, so I have been a member of the Hackspace for about a year and a half, so I'm pretty new. But I've gotten really deep into the culture pretty quickly, kind of being involved running some programs. I think it's really easy to forget that makers and hackers right now are a really narrow slice of the population, and it's important for us not to forget everybody else. And I think that means figuring out how to explain what you do, making things accessible, just being really, really careful that you don't, that it doesn't become exclusive in any way. And I think that making's got that in its DNA, that it's in the hacker culture and the hacker space culture and open source. Like there's this real open idea there, which is good. But I think even with that, sometimes you just forget and you start to use jargon and you start to sort of exclude people. Or like a good example is at the Hackspace. Sometimes someone walks in the door and everyone's kind of busy and we don't put enough effort into giving them a tour and welcoming them. And everyone knows we need to work on that, but like I think that's the kind of thing we really have to remember, that if you care about it as a movement and you think that building stuff with your hands is something that everyone should do, it's sometimes the maker fairs are so big and great that you feel like the battle is won, and it's like, oh well, I'm just going to go back to my particular hobby, I really like it, job done. But I think that it would be really good for everyone if we all remember to do a little bit of outreach, just when we talk to people and kind of at all times. And to stay really super accessible and kind of share the movement.
Probably just kind of what Andrea was saying, like just keep doing it, make stuff every day, and you'll find the thing that works for you. As far as being successful as a crafter, or in any sort of artistic, or yeah, as a crafter, let's say. So, like, put up items that show what you're really good at or what you really like to do, but also have smaller items that people can just grab. Because I find with what I sell, it's a really low price point, so it's a way for people to be able to access art at a very low price, and I find that's probably one of the reasons why I'm successful. So just having smaller items and also showcasing.
The biggest thing that I've noticed is makers are the most generous people you'll ever find. So ask the dumb questions, because there are no dumb questions. And don't be afraid to talk to somebody. A lot of these people that are makers, they look like they're pissed off because they've been spending all night getting the thing ready to show you. So they haven't had any sleep, not enough caffeine, so they might look a little grumpy, but they're probably really nice people. So definitely ask them a question, because they'll probably tell you the answer and help you do with your own project as well.
Don't assume that your random skills aren't relevant. Everything always combines, and that's what makes making and art and life great, is when you combine all the things that you don't think should go together. Sometimes they will.
Yeah, and it's really impressive to see how like a lot of the things that were just considered toys or child's playthings, like, I don't know, gaming systems, are now so important, and like it's creating this revolution, and you never know that something you're just having fun with or playing with ends up to be one of the most important things you're ever doing with your life. And you should totally just share what you're doing with other people, because you're going to learn stuff better from your friends than you ever will from school or from books or from Google.
Know what you like. It's very important to be able to do things, to have a skill, but sometimes people get trapped. They find that because they can do something, they feel they must do it. Because they can do something a certain way, they feel they must do it a certain way. And I think it's more important to do something the way you like, and to do something because you like it, than for any other reason. If you don't like doing it, don't.
Sure, I think my most useful piece of advice would be to reach out into the community early. Don't just work in your basement for months and then show people. Show people right away. It will be really encouraging, and it also will prevent you from going down the wrong path. You'll immediately see what other people value, and it's okay to just do your own thing. But if you really want to be big things, you need to involve other people, and to do that, you have to inspire them. And so for that, you have to show them. You can't just work on it on your own.
The people who are already making it figured it out. Just try it. The first robot I made was a 6-legged crab that walks. I was so dumb, I didn't know I couldn't do it. So the simplest thing to do is just give it a try. At worst, it fails and you're back where you started with nothing, except you've gained some experience. So actually you're a little bit ahead. And then try again, and try again. Try some more. Persistence is key.
Don't be shy to ask people who know. Because often I think we're too shy and we feel kind of stupid going to ask, but it's really important to ask, and especially maybe older people and experienced people.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to look ridiculous.
Yeah,
I mean, they'll know.
Yeah, and don't assume that other people know everything about something. You should just ask and find out, and a lot of people don't know or do know and you don't realise it. So. Yeah. So,
Start small, play, enjoy it, and then decide if you want to venture into anything bigger. And often the simplest way of doing things is the most rewarding. And so I talk about growing in soil. We just jumped in the other end. So I would say find a community that you can become part of, and if one doesn't exist, start one, because while you may think there's not many other people that would be interested in what you're doing, by having that support group, I think that's really something pretty invaluable. That support group can bring so much to the challenges that you might have, because you don't have all the answers, but someone would have more answers than what you potentially might have.
Don't give up. Just remember that you're going to hit a wall once in a while, and it's just a matter of finding a solution instead of focusing on the problem.
I would say that connecting with other people in the same area with the same experience, even if what little they know is only mildly related to what you're doing, the information that they have, and that you can glean from them, will pay itself back, tenfold in how you develop, how you work, and how you proceed.
Get in there with both feet. Jump in with both feet. Get dirty. Get messy. Make mistakes. You'll fail fast.
You'll
always learn, and you'll be able to apply that to your very next project. Mm-hmm. Fail fast. You're absolutely right. Fail fast and just keep going.
Just keep going, and be inspired by the things that are around you. Don't just accept everything as this is how it is. Steve Jobs had a very fantastic quote. He said that everything that you take for granted, someone else just thought of just by themselves. And so I think that's a great way to live life.
Talk to each other. I think lending it out, keeping contact is really awesome. There's a fellow right across the way who I've known 25 years ago. We hooked up again at the Art Maker Fair. It was hilarious. We were just doing what we do. So for people that are just getting into it, talk to other people. Don't judge. If you're young or new, just don't judge what other people are doing, and maybe listen when people are giving you don't give too much advice. Actually, I find giving too much advice is maybe not the best thing unless they want to hear it. So
my advice is don't be shy to accept help. When I started, it was amazing how many people were prepared to help me. Come on over to my house, I'll show you how to do free motion quilting or something. Just don't accept the offers of help that you will receive, because you will get them in the quilting community for sure.
I think Elsie's response is really good for people who are just starting. For contemporaries and people that are doing similar stuff to what we're doing, I think the biggest thing is to just go where it takes you and not get caught up on the titles or on sections or on whether your quilt is modern or traditional or an art quilt. As the movement kind of gets more organized, it's starting to get people wanting like to nail it down and be like, no, this is that and this is that. And I think that's detrimental to the movement overall. And I think it's easy to get caught up in that, especially when you're on like Instagram constantly and Flickr and you're really like, it's constant. You're not, but I am. It's easy to get caught up in that, but make what you like making and see where it takes you on your path for being creative, and don't worry about the labels so much.
Don't be afraid of technology. Technology, yes, might be a little bit intimidating at how rapid it's changing the world we see around us, the way we see the world around us, but the fact that culture and technology have become one thing now is something that I think you should really, really learn to appreciate. And also, ask questions and don't forget to meet people that do what you do. Whether it's online or whether it's, like in person, at a local hacker space, make stuff.
I think it's get out there and get experiences outside of the glass community. Go to art shows, go talk to crafters, talk to artists, talk to people that are your buyers. What do they want to see? What attracts them to your stuff? Because it may not be that they're buying your work because it's glass, they're buying it because it reminds them of their grandmother or it reminds them of a vacation they took. So it's important to expand outside of the glass community to get inspiration.
Well, my contemporaries know they don't need any advice, but people who are starting out, I would say, don't do it for a living. Whatever you do, keep it as your passion. When you mix commerce with your art, it just, and even in the best intentions, it sullies everything. And, God bless all of us who actually do it for a living, but I mean, it just takes it all away. Sorry, but it does. So there you go.
Well, I just threw myself into it, so I would just tell anybody, just throw yourself into it, see what happens. As you go along, when you go, oh, hey, I don't know how to do this, I wonder, and then you ask around, and you ask a few people who have actually been doing things in some of the specific subfields that you're thinking of, and usually everybody's pretty user-friendly and stuff, and they'll give you a little few tips here and there, and you just follow it on, and you just, as long as you're open and adaptable to learning new things, you should be able to progress very, very well.
I would say just get online. Find the online community, and there's lots of people out there. Questions, where to get cheap Lego as well is always a really big thing because Lego's really expensive. So paying full price is kind of a pain in the butt if you can get past it. Find the online community. That's the biggest thing for sure.
If you don't like it, don't get into it because you have to have a passion for it.
I would say, as I mentioned before, just don't think about any limitation. Don't think that you have to go to 5 years university or colleges to study that. You can just experiment, small steps, and you will get there just using your excitement, will, and like thinking that I can do it. Nothing's gonna stop me.
Don't give up. Ask people. Be polite. Ask people though, and say, you know what, I need some help, and I do this. I'll call up other people and say, listen, dude, I'm kind of in a corner. Do you have any ideas? You can throw me a bone. Like, we may be competing against each other, but can you throw me a bone? Like, I'm kind of stuck, right? And be polite. And when you're polite, people, and the other thing is, this is the best way. If you're gonna ask for something, bring something to give. Bring some donuts or coffee. Dude, I'll tell you what, somebody brings me a donut and a coffee, I'll help them for an hour. And it works every time. A box of donuts, you can bring a dozen donuts to a business, man, they'll help you for a long time. But be yourself and let whatever you are be expressed through whatever media you're working with. That's it. And just be polite and humble, right? Because that's just be polite and humble and just enjoy what you're doing and just do it.
Absolutely go for it. Have lots of fun. Make sure you make lots of friends so you don't burn out.
I'd probably say find some friends who know how to do stuff, because it's pretty daunting if you're actually trying to do it for the first time. And if you've got a few friends, like, they can sort of talk you through when you get a big problem and try to brainstorm with them and figure out a way to solve the problem.
Dive in. It's better than ever. It's the tools we have now, you don't need a lot, but the ones we've got are much, much better than they were just a few years ago. So.
Just get out there and meet people. Chances are if you're really excited about something, there's somebody who lives close by who's also really excited about it. So get out there in your community and talk to them. They can probably help you out, and you can probably help them out.
Find what you love and go with it.
Follow your passion. If there's passion, go towards it. And another piece is to avoid resistance. Go where the flow is.
Try it. It's more fun than it may look. And stone is this incredible material which is very hard and very durable and is natural, organic in a sense, but it has endless possibilities. Like, I think of stone as being very fluid, that you can create pretty much anything you want out of it if you have the patience.
I think that generally with art, and particularly with glass blowing, you have to be very dedicated to get your skill level up. Glass blowing, it often looks easy when someone skilled is doing it, and I think that's true of anything. Anyone who's really good can sort of make it look very easy. But it's generally, things take a lot more time than you think they will take. Even if you have experience, they still take more time than you expect. And you just really have to have a consistent effort if you can, and just work at increasing your skill level whenever you get the opportunity.
Don't be afraid to make a big mistake. Even if you have your project and it's not finished, just bring it to the fair anyway. Or bring it to wherever you're going and be like, this is a project I'm working on, and this is sort of what I'm going for, and this is the way it's not working properly. And you would be amazed how many people identify with making something and not being able to finish it, or not being able to realize it in the way they want. I think people relate to that almost more than finished work. So it gives you a good point to talk to people. As long as you're not like totally self-deprecating, usually people are like, hey, I've got an idea for you, or how about, have you tried this? And you actually end up, I find, like meeting cooler people if you admit like, hey, it didn't turn out the way I wanted. So just don't be afraid of that. It's actually kind of good.
Well, I don't think that I'm qualified to give any advice to people who have been printing for a much longer time than I try to listen more than I give advice in this aspect. If it was coming to building an airplane, flying an airplane, something like that, I might be different. But sometimes you're just supposed to listen and shut up.
Don't be afraid of making mistakes. How are you going to learn? It's big mistakes is one. Two, don't get disappointed if some problems show up. How are you going to learn? And know Murphy's Law and Finnegan's Corey. I'm sure you're familiar with Murphy's Law, but I'm not sure you know Finnegan's Corey. Finnegan stated that Murphy was an optimist.
Just start. Don't give up. Hang around people who've been there, and they will guide you and help you. Because I certainly didn't know what I was doing when I started.
My advice to people just getting into building things is to just do it. Just start doing something and get some momentum going.
Well, it's interactive art is tough because people are going to wreck it. People will destroy it. So you have to understand that people are going to smash up your stuff if you say it's interactive. People will climb on it and interact with it and probably wreck it, probably destroy it. So you have to accept that and build it to that level, I guess. So I guess it's harsh, but that's what happens. But art can be transitory. Art can be just for the day or for the week or whatever else. We took a giant structure to Burning Man last year. The Breaking Wave, it was a
It's a 2-ton wooden wave structure. We built it one day, and 3 days later we burned it. So it was here for the moment, and it was an expression of our interest in the environment. So there you go.
Just keep your volition strong, and really don't get hung up on things that aren't working, and keep going, because it's to make is a creative verb, and the creative process can be straining on your heart, and just emotionally we get tied to the things that we make, but to be strong and carry on and make more things.
Make lots of mistakes. It's very important to make mistakes and to learn from them and to revel in all the amazing things that come out of those mistakes. As some musicians say, don't be afraid of mistakes because there are none.